Welcome back to the tech room for Between the Ashes, the Growing Silence here on for Freespace 2 here on Paladin Gaming. We are going to continue with our faction and manufacturer readings. We have unlocked I.N.E.D.A.M in the weapons tab. Project I.N.E.D.A.M was a project of GTI research and development, an attempt to develop a fully autonomous strategic weapon and perhaps the most blatant violation of the Third Convention on Autonomous Weapon Systems imaginable. While 3 Cause does have limited exceptions for low-power defensive weapons, I.N.E.D.A.M was anything but. Its primary objective was to deploy forces into a system, seek and destroy Vasudan targets, and salvage the scrap as raw material for the construction of additional assets, eventually blockading all jump nodes out of the system and defeating the Vasudan fleet in detail before moving on to the next Vasudan-held system. After the Shivan incursion, I.N.E.D.A.M's focus changed to attacking Shivan targets and eventually to providing a legacy should humanity fall, consuming the war debris to assemble a fleet powerful enough to take revenge. To this end, I.N.E.D.A.M was granted the most sophisticated neural network ever developed by Terran and Vasudan researchers, fabrication equipment to rival a Ganymede rig, and a complete dossier on all Terran, Vasudan, and Shivan vessels, armaments, and tactics. Primary construction was carried out at the Masada Redoubt in Antares, with Vostok Station and Lighton handling the AI research. Both locations were chosen for secrecy. The truth was more complicated because there was a conspiracy going on within GTI. Many of the higher-ups believed that the Shivan defeat was merely a matter of time. Given the Shivan's initial push into Vasudan-held space, they may have hoped the PVN and the Shivan Armada would exhaust each other, leaving the GTA unopposed. Much of Project I.N.E.D.A.M's funding was quietly funneled to rebel projects, notably the Hades carrier, even as arguments about what I.N.E.D.A.M's true purpose should be turned violent. Sometime after the defeat of the GTI rebellion, I.N.E.D.A.M's construction module reached Lighton and united with the AI controller. Erroneously interpreting GTI's defeat as human extinction, it began its mission, attacking targets of opportunity, primarily STX exploration cargo depots and mining ships, to build up a supply of raw material. It quickly established a diverse array of drones, ranging from efficient disposable swarm combatants to highly advanced stealth fighters and EWAR ships, sufficient to challenge the GTA, PVN, and LNA forces arranged against them. So, that being short, we'll go to by manufacturer and start reading about the corporations. So we'll start with Akheton Corporation here. The Akheton Corporation is a Vasudan aerospace manufacturer whose history is closely entwined with that of the Imperium itself. The discovery of interplanetary travel revolutionized Vasudan society, which had long been held back by its resource-poor homeworld. Initially, Akheton was just one of many companies competing in this new market. However, they were aware of research being done on the then-novel subspace domain which might allow for faster-than-light travel, and intentionally designed their ships with extension points so they could quickly be retooled if the technology paid off. When it did, Akheton assumed a dominant market position almost overnight and were ultimately a key player in Vasudan unification. The modern Akheton Corporation retains its historical focus on innovation and forward thinking, and maintains a sprawling portfolio including high-performance strike craft, science ships, and the mighty Typhon carriers. In a bit of historical irony, the one thing they've stopped building are cargo ships. Bessimer-Kohn Construction. There's a lot of these. Blessedly, they're shorter than the faction write-ups. Bessimer-Kohn began as a missile manufacturer, rising to prominence with the ubiquitous Hornet swarm missile. Since then, the company has established a reputation for innovation. Perhaps their biggest success is the Prometheus hull attack cannon, which puts their experience with fire control sensors to new use, using laser spectrometry to automatically adjust shot packaging for maximum effect. Dynamic Metamer. Dynamic Metamer is a well-established company. The company was founded just over 2 decades before the outbreak of the 14 Years' War, quite recently by the standards of space travel, but quickly developed a reputation for technological sophistication, backed by robust engineering principles. With a mixed portfolio of civilian and military products, Dynamic Metamer seems well positioned to remain a major player in the aerospace industry for years to come, although it is facing increasing competition from I.N.E.D.A.M Aeronautical and Triton Dynamics. Galactic Terran Intelligence. Galactic Terran Intelligence began as a military intelligence service within the larger GTA League of Defense. Originally tasked with rooting out pirate and smuggler organizations, GTI expanded rapidly during the 14 Years' War. eventually growing to encompass dedicated intelligence, special operations, and research and development departments, respectively under the GTD Soyokaze, Krios, and Repulse, with the GTD Legion providing overall organization and command. The expansion of GTI's responsibilities was not matched by an expansion of oversight, a state of affairs which worsened with the loss of the GTD Legion to Shivan forces. After the destruction of the Lucifer, but before the Shivan incursion was fully defeated, a long-concealed conspiracy within GTI tried to take advantage of the post-Sol chaos, commencing operations with the ultimate end of seizing control of the Alliance government by force. The conspiracy was headed by Admiral Marcus Glaive of the GTD Repulse and General Andreas Rybach of Internal Security, with intensive support within research and development and limited support within the other departments. R&D's expertise with unconventional technologies was key to the insurrection. The rebellion's flagship, the I.N.E.D.A.M, was constructed in secret over many years and upgraded with Shivan hybrid systems before its initial deployment. The insurrection is also called the Hades Rebellion as a result. The Hades was eventually destroyed by a task force led by the GTD Soyokaze during the Second Battle of I.N.E.D.A.M, bringing the rebellion to an explosive end. The reintroduction of former GTI personnel proved to be a long and arduous process as the Alliance worked with the Department of Justice to ensure former rebels could not escape prosecution by feigning loyalty. We just read I.N.E.D.A.M in the faction tab. J. Scott Weapons. Named after its founder, Juliana Great Scott. J. Scott Weapons is a small firm specializing in high-performance missile weapons. Best known for their Phoenix line of long-range missiles, J. Scott favors a quality over quantity approach, arguing that a standoff approach to combat pays for itself in the long run. It manufactures the Phoenix 5 and the Ballista. Johnson Munitions. The old, reliable workhorse of weapons contractors, Johnson Munitions is best known for their suite of fighter-scale primary cannons. Johnson's Avenger attack cannon was a critical development early in the Shivan incursion, providing a means to pierce Shivan fighter shields without resorting to the unreliable MX-50 missile. Increased competition from Bessimer-Kohn, Triton Dynamics, and surprisingly Subach-Innes has seen the Avenger fall from its once ubiquitous place, and Johnson has been gradually scaling up its engineering division to compensate. Kresge Connections. This sounds kind of like the Star Wars soundtrack. The Regulus-based Kresge Connections is less of a manufacturer in their own right and more of a broker, helping clients navigate the complex web of corporate relations surrounding Regulus. They do produce a small number of irregular weapons, however, such as EMP missiles and the Force CXI tracking device, which are popular with special operations squadrons across the Alliance. Concerns about possible connections to the Regulus Syndicate must be approached carefully. Yeah, the swelling strings kind of sounded like the Force theme. It's not, but it sounded kind of like it there for a couple of bars. We've already read the Light and New Alliance in the Factions video. Mekhu Enterprises. Mekhu Enterprises is a Vasudan company of largely civilian nature. They're best known for their low-cost, high-reliability freighters and transports, filling in the niche which the Akheton Corporation left behind. Mekhu does accept defense contracts, however, and during the 14 Years' War, both sides of the company cooperated to create some truly fearsome cargo ships which could largely hold their own against Alliance raids and are still relevant on modern battlefields. Mesa Corporation. The Mesa Corporation rose to prominence during the early days of Terran expansion, designing and manufacturing the security equipment needed by convoys in that turbulent time. Mesa's stock fell gradually from its heights as growing Alliance authority decreased demand for their services, although the 14 Years' War ensured they were never completely without a market. Mesa's combat designs have largely failed to keep up with the times, although the company has had some success transitioning into other verticals. Ah, Corpo speak. Other multiple... RNI Systems. RNI Systems is the Alliance's preferred contractor for projects requiring technical sophistication. While they're best known for the Faustus science cruiser, their portfolio also contains several high-end probes and various naval auxiliaries, along with various components of the Orion fleet carrier. RNI is also active in the civilian market, where they produce a modest range of space habitats. Internally, the company uses an internal organization structure based on an engineering scrum team, which has given them a reputation for both creativity and unpredictability. STX Exploration has a write-up in the Faction tab. We already read it. So does the Second Dawn Society. Snapka Flegel Weapon Systems. Snapka Flegel, the unusual punctuation is part of the company's legal name, largely produces unsophisticated but economical weapons for civilian security contractors, although a few of their missile offerings have found use among the GTA fighter corps. Snapka Flegel had one breakout success in the design of the Fenris cruiser's main weapon. The launcher and magazines use the same space-efficient techniques Snapka developed for their fighter-scale missiles, giving the Fenris unusually good endurance for its size. Snapka's weapons have an unfortunate tendency of showing up in pirate hands, although this seems to have more to do with their ubiquity than any malfeasance on Snapka's part. Subach-Innes. Subach-Innes is a company with a long and successful history. They primarily act as a subcontractor, providing specialists to support other companies whenever their in-house expertise is lacking. They're McKinsey in space. Oh boy. Subach-Innes' attempts at building their own spacecraft have typically been met with trouble beyond their control, which is jokingly attributed to a curse. They have had more success in weapons manufacturing, however, such as the Subach main cannon that we use. And finally, Triton Dynamics. An up-and-coming company, Triton Dynamics was founded by ex-RNI luminary Eleanor Miyamoto after she was ousted from her prior position. Triton leverages the same unorthodox organizational structure as RNI, but takes it a step further, actively recruiting those with non-traditional backgrounds and encouraging employees to try out different roles within the company. Triton worked closely with the Vasudan teams to design the Ulysses fighter, and afterwards arranged an exchange program, making it one of the few truly mixed species companies in Terran space. While Triton has a small portfolio and limited time to prove themselves, the Admiralty is keeping a close eye on them for future contracts. They make the Banshee and the Shieldbreaker. So, this has been the manufacturer summaries in the tech room for Between the Ashes, The Growing Silence here on Paladin for Freespace 2 here on Paladin Gaming. This is Paladin Gaming signing off.